The Lady Daffodilia, Part 2. Now, when Prince Brilliant ran away from Lady Daffodilia, he found the road so hot and so dusty that he was obliged to keep near the hedge at the side. And he had not run very far before he pushed his head through a very elegant spider's web. The spider was exceedingly crossed and grumbled, but the daddy-long-legs that tumbled out of her web was very much pleased with himself. "Well, my little fellow," he said to the prince, "where are you running so fast this morning?" Now, one of the things that the prince had learned from his professor was the way to speak to a daddy-long-legs. So before another 5 minutes had passed, he told him the whole of his trouble. "Do you know the way to make your legs grow long?" asked the prince at the end of his story. "Well," said the daddy-long-legs, "that is certainly one of the things I'm generally supposed to know. But if I show you the way, do you think you will have patience to do everything I tell you? It may take a very long time." "I can wait years and years and years and years," said the prince in his determined way. The daddy-long-legs had the sense to see that what he meant he said. "Right you are," he said. "Jump straight into that hedge, and the more spiders' webs you can break on the way, the better. Nasty, choky, stuffy things." "What shall I do when I get there?" asked the prince. "Oh, you haven't got to do anything," said the daddy-long-legs with a chuckle. "Just wait there until I come to you." "All right, but you won't be long, will you?" said the prince. He tucked his crown under his arm and he shut his eyes tight and jumped straight into the thorny, prickly hedge. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in a strange new country that was made of rose-coloured dreams and filled with rose-coloured air and lighted with rose-coloured sunbeams. There were no people or trees or mountains or rivers to be seen, but before the little prince had time to notice this, his mind was filled with rose-coloured thoughts, and so he forgot the Lady Daffodilia, and he forgot his own crossness, and everything that had made him unhappy when he was in the real world. "Hello, where am I?" he cried. "You're in the world of dreams, to be sure," said a voice in his ear. "Where else should you be at this time of your life?" "But who lives here?" asked Prince Brilliant. A great many voices answered him. "We live here, of course," they said. "We are really nice dreams. That's what we are. And when children are the right sort, like yourself, they come here to stay with us until they're grown up." "May I play with you then?" asked the prince. In the real world he'd been too fond of books to play very much, but here he felt as though he must do nothing else but play all day long. "Of course you may," answered the dream voices. "That is what you're here for." Prince Brilliant was soon the happiest boy possible. Some people might think it dull to have playfellows who could not be seen, but the prince thought nothing more than could be as delightful as this than to live in the midst of dreams for the rest of his life. It's true he was fast forgetting everything that his professor had taught him, but this was hardly surprising, for there is no room in a small head for serious thoughts as well as rose-coloured ones. It's doubtful whether the prince would have ever wanted to go back to the real world again, if he had not met the daddy-long-legs again one day as he was strolling along with his favourite dream. "Hello," said the daddy-long-legs, chuckling. "I see it's time for you to go back to the real world." "What, already?" exclaimed the prince. "Why, you said I should have to wait years and years and years and—" You've been here exactly 7 years, interrupted the daddy-long-legs, and it's time for you to meet the waking up dream. The prince suddenly began to remember things. When shall I be as tall as the Lady Daffodilia? He cried. But the daddy-long-legs had no time to do anything but chuckle before the waking up dream came and seized hold of the prince, and he found himself falling and falling and falling, down, 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 until he dropped with a thud on the soft grass lawn, and found himself in the middle of the most beautiful garden in the world. A little way off stood an old grey castle, and as he lay looking at it, the gate swung open, and out stepped a dainty, winsome little lady. The prince sprang to his feet with a shout and held out his arms, and Lady Daffodilia ran straight into them without stopping so much as to think. "How did you learn how to grow so tall?" she asked, looking up at him. "Well," said the prince truthfully, "I just went in the world of dreams and waited until I was grown up. You see, I was a boy and not a girl all the time, so I was not in such a hurry as you to get my growing up done so early." "I tried to grow as clever as you," sighed Lady Daffodilia, "but nothing would stop in my head. I couldn't even say the exports and imports of fairyland without looking in the book first." "Never mind," laughed the prince. "I don't believe there are any imports, for I'm sure we have nothing good enough to send there. And as far as the exports, there's only one thing that fairyland has sent into this country that's worth remembering." "And what is that?" she asked anxiously. "It is something that is not very tall and not very serious and not very wise," answered the prince. "But it is sweet and merry and charming, and it is called the Lady Daffodilia."
And now it is time for all little children to go to sleep. Good night.